All right. Hello. Good evening, sunshines. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us tonight. We are here with Cody and Michelle from More Than Farmers. Also, Alexander, who wanted to be part of the chat instead of go to bed. So he's going to just disappear shortly. But yeah, thank you so much for coming. We're so excited to talk about so many things, from how do we get started to soil health. Oh, good. This is a new skill we've recently learned too. Yes, it's very special. It's all very good. He wants to be a star. I mean, look, everyone, he's a I forgot that this is backwards. Healthy, happy baby. Just in case anyone's just here to see that. Alexander's a star. He's perfect. He's very great. Okay, on to the real business. Cody and Michelle, More Than Farmers. Thank you for joining us. Adam, do you want to? I wanted to just give a quick introduction about what we're doing. We're going to be giving away some Redmond gift cards. So if you would like to be entered into the Redmond giveaways, just leave a comment, ask a question, and you will be entered. We have our friend Emily, who you can't see because the screen is much smaller than usual, which is why I'm just going to be continually leaning out on the wrong side of the screen this whole time. And then we have also someone on their end too, right?
Yeah. Well, great. First, yeah. Thanks for joining, guys. Like so for people who don't know, like who don't have the background, maybe didn't watch the video, we did a video with More Than Farmers back in September. And it was really cool. They were very gracious to have us at their farm. Had a nice lunch, filmed the video. It was a great day. And
sealed our friendship for forever.
Yeah, and we thought it'd be a really cool and fun thing to do a live stream with them. And also, we got so many questions from that video, and we thought it'd probably be a really cool opportunity to get together and answer some of those questions. So, wow,
this is like a cough laugh that he's really just trying to be. Also, yeah, I didn't do our intro very well because I was so distracted by my pet parakeet that we have here. But the thing about the video that we did with Cody and Michelle is that it resonated with so many folks on every platform that we shared it on. And I think that's also why it generated all the comments that it did and the questions that it did, because Cody and Michelle are so incredibly knowledgeable about how to start with nothing and build up to where they're now feeding their family almost entirely from their homestead. They have a 1/8 acre garden where they raise most of the vegetables and fruits that they eat for the year. And then they do some steers and some meat birds in the back portion of their property as well.
Yeah, maybe like we haven't actually let them talk yet. So yes. I'd love to hear from you guys.
Let's do that.
Maybe just
and I'll just run away with Alexander really
tell
quick.
Us like a little bit about, for like the people who didn't watch the video, maybe just tell us a little bit about you guys and what you guys are doing up there in Ohio.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right. So Cody, Michelle, and we have 6 children. We're in Ohio. A lot of people ask, we're in zone 6B. So if you're watching our videos 6A. If you're watching our videos and you want to know like what we're growing and how you can grow it in your area, if you're in 6A, it'll probably be pretty similar or a zone close to that. We started out with like literally nothing, like no money. We worked ourselves up from the ground up. We built the house that we live in. We're on 5.5 acres. Like Ann said, we have about an eighth of an acre of growing space for our gardens. Michelle is the garden ninja. She does all the gardening stuff, and I help along with it. And then I take care of most of the animal stuff. We've got a couple beef cows. We just kind of started into that. We used to have a milk cow. We sold her because of some dairy issues in our family, but we've got a couple beef cows and we raised some steers. And then we raise meat chickens. We have egg layers, a dog and a cat. And we're living what some people think.
Did you say ducks?
Oh, and some ducks. We're living what some people feel is a homestead dream, and it is a dream. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of hard work, but it is a lot of fun.
It's amazing. And how long ago did you guys say you started doing this?
Is it 12 years?
Not quite. So we bought this property in 2014. It took us about a year until we got the house finished enough to move in, and then it was another year until it was actually like finished. But yeah, so we've been here on this property for a little over 10 years. And before that, we were living in a basement apartment, and we actually started homesteading. And that's something that we like to talk about on our channel, is that you can start anywhere, like with pretty much with anything. If you've got even just a single burner in your dorm room, you could go probably get a little canner that you could put on there and do some water bath canning. You could go buy some vegetables at the farmer's market or at the grocery store and can some vegetables and put it on your little shelf and eat from that. You can start with just about anything. So we had couple little raised beds. We got some little Banty hens that Michelle likes to say laid little peanut M&Ms. And we just did like a tiny little bit. And we read a lot of books and stuff. And yeah, that's how we got started.
That's amazing. Yeah, like what I love about you guys is you guys are actually doing it. like it's quite a task, I think, to do what you guys do, and you do all the homeschooling of the kids. And I think it's super inspiring to see what you guys do, and also that you document it with weekly YouTube videos and Instagram, and it's super inspiring. Was it, let me ask, was it who first got into it? Was it you, Cody, or was it you, Michelle?
It was me. No, like as a teenager, I was like growing a market garden. It wasn't a successful market garden, but I've just always loved the earth. I've loved growing things. I love soil. And so I would help my mom in the vegetable garden at home. And I mean, she taught me to garden. I was gardening with my mom since I was just knee-high to a grasshopper. And Cody, when we got married, he thought it was just stupid. He was like, gardening is dumb. I don't want to do it. He wanted nothing to do with farming. And I think kind of, you read one of Joel Salatin's books, but wasn't it also kind of the off-grid, like you were concerned about the way the world was going? And so that's kind of initially why he got so into it. That was not at all my thing. I didn't care at all, honestly, about what was going on in the world. To me, I just wanted to garden. I just wanted my feet in the dirt. So he read a Joel Salatin book, and all of a sudden, just like overnight, turned into a farmer. And honestly, probably within a couple months of you reading the book, we managed to find a guy in our community who gave us a private loan. And a
couple months was longer than that. But
was it longer than that after you read the book? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know the time frame.
But we were
exactly,
looking pretty soon.
But we were looking very soon after, and we bought a property, and then from there it was, that's where we started.
That's awesome.
Was the book You Can Farm by Joel Salatin?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So I actually started with my cousin was an intern at Polyface, and I saw on their family blog or whatever that he got this pair of farm boots for his birthday. And it was like, I'm going to a farm. And I was like, that's the weirdest birthday present ever. Like,
the dumbest thing in the
who
world.
would be excited to be going to work on a farm?
That's amazing.
But somehow I ended up getting sucked in. So,
totally. And when Cody makes up his mind to do something, he does it with everything in him. It was just like a complete 360. And I kid you not, he did not even know that if you put a potato in the ground, you get more than one potato back. He was like, isn't this really pointless? Just put a potato in the ground just to get one back.
Well,
so he knew nothing.
That's what happens. I think actually one of the questions that we're going to talk about is actually how do we get one potato and actually turn it into more than just one potato?
Yeah,
that's a subtle foreshadowing for someone.
Yeah, so we have some questions. Like I said, we had got a lot of questions on the video, and I thought this would be a really good opportunity and a good platform to kind of answer some of those questions. And so we're going to kind of go through those, but also we're going to take some live Q&A as well. And so between some of the questions, I'll pull up some of the Q&A that comes up in the chat. So if you have any questions for Michelle and Cody or ourselves, feel free to just drop them in the chat, and we'll select as many as we can.
And don't forget that asking a question will enter you to win a Redmond gift card.
That's right.
And actually,
can I put a question in?
Should we just start, Adam, with the question about potatoes? Question 5.
So so I also have some YouTube handles here. So CFOUC444 asks, yes, but what about rotation? The land will be out of vitamin in no time. How do you keep the ground from depleting? In the old days, farmers would starve because their land would stop giving. How do you rest certain parts of the garden?
Speaking of rest, I'm just gonna go double check our baby upstairs.
Yeah, this is real life.
This is real life. Welcome to real life. Family businesses, my friends.
Shall I answer that one?
Yep.
Okay.
I'd say so.
You weren't going to answer, Adam, were you? Was this for me?
No, that was a question for you.
Okay.
If y'all are expecting me to answer any gardening questions, we're in a lot of trouble on this live stream.
So basically what I do to rotate crops is I'd make sure that I don't grow the exact same crop in the exact same place every single year. So different crops are going to be taking up different nutrients from the soil. And so I would never plant potatoes in the same place every single year. I like to and I'm not really picky.
You don't do crop rotation. Like if you were to read a book about crop rotation and making sure this certain family follows
another certain family. Like I just make sure not to put the same crop in the same place at the same time. So corn pulls up tons of nitrogen from the soil. And so it would just be foolhardy to try to continually plant corn in the same spot. Also, we put compost on our garden every single year. And I also mulch really, really heavily with leaves. And all of that organic matter is going to be adding into the soil. And then I also do some cover crops and things like that. So, and I don't use any fertilizers in my garden aside from if there's like a plant that's looking really sick, I might use some fish emulsion or liquid seaweed, but I am not a fertilizer person. I think it can throw things off really fast if you don't know what your soil actually needs. And so I get a soil test done every single year, and I only add what actually needs to be added. And soil amendments are actually relatively inexpensive. Fertilizer is very expensive, but soil amendments are like, I don't think we spend much money at all on soil amendments.
No. If you just get like bags of lime to add calcium in or something, it's so cheap.
Very inexpensive. So that's how we keep our soil from.
And our soil gets better every year.
Every single year.
So even though we're not using expensive fertilizers, just using those amendments and using homemade compost that's not even made very well.
Yeah, we're not very good at it.
To make good compost, you should be turning it and maybe checking the moisture and things like that. We just put all of our cow manure, chicken manure, and scraps on a pile and just leave it for a couple years, and eventually it turns into compost by itself. Yeah. So using that compost and leaves and those soil amendments, our soil gets better every year.
I was actually able to make my garden smaller and smaller as the years went by, just simply because what I planted produced more as my soil got better.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I know that Annie and you guys definitely differ on some of the techniques and the concepts, and I think that's really cool because you both make it work for your different use case.
Yes.
And there's not necessarily like a wrong or a right way to do things, especially depending on what zone you're in and kind of what you're trying to get out of it. So I think this is something maybe we can kind of talk about as we go. I'm sure it will come up as we go through these questions, like different styles. But I think that's a pretty cool thing.
I actually, just to piggyback on that, I love that, like, being true about gardening. Like, there is no one way, one ring to rule them all when it comes to being a successful gardener. And like, yes, some people have figured out more stuff than others, but the reality is it's not like someone has this magic sauce. And if they're trying to sell you on having the magic sauce, they're lying, because the reality is that both like all of us got our start with basically $0 in the bank, and needing food security because we couldn't afford it. And that's how, like, we didn't, spend thousands of dollars on soil and fertilizers and garden implements. And we didn't start with a tractor or like any of those things. You can grow in your backyard with what you've got right now. Even if you don't have a backyard, you can grow on your windowsill. When I lived in Taiwan, like, most of my neighbors had things growing in their, like, on their balconies. Most of my neighbors had chickens growing on the roofs of the rooftops of our high rises. Like, it was if you want it bad enough,
You'll
will find a way.
You'll find a way. Yep. Totally.
Amazing.
And actually, speaking of that, while Adam's queuing up the next question, I will say that whenever a video goes like does really, gets seen by a lot of people, one of the big things that we get tons and tons of comments are like everyone telling why it's impossible for them to do the same thing.
Right. The victim mentality. Like, I could never do this because.
Yeah. Or my favorite, like, must be nice because you must be so rich to be able to afford all that. And
generational wealth, all that generational wealth.
Would have loved it if
That
it
now
that would be great. But
we were legit completely broke when we got our place. So, yep.
You mean the thing that like clearly every Facebook commenter thinks was $3 million?
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Next question. This is from most definitely 6737. Yeah, I know these YouTube names are great. I'm very green when it comes to growing crops and was wondering what you both do to prevent insects and rodents from eating up your crops. Historically, I've had a huge field mouse issue.
Oh, that's a rough one. We've never had that issue.
We did
Actually, pests.
We had moles.
What is your pest situation like? Because it looks to me like you all just have no fence around your garden, and like don't you have deer or anything that come?
We probably would. We did one year have raccoons that
Sweet corn.
were eating our sweet corn, and we've had bunnies in the garden a few times, but we have an outside dog now, and that dog loves to chase anything it sees. So we have an in-ground fence around the section of our property, and it's definitely big enough for her to have space to roam and stuff, but it's also small enough that she's always looking for something to do.
Yeah.
And because she used to roam around to the neighbors, and now she doesn't get to roam around to the neighbors anymore. So anytime she sees something out there, she's got paths worn through the garden where she runs through and chases birds out and chases away the little bunnies and things like that. So that's the thing for that kind of pest. For bugs and stuff, that's Michelle's area of expertise.
I mean, I have never yet met a gardener that has such perfect soil that they don't have any pest issues ever. I haven't met anyone like that. For me, though, I have noticed that the bug pressure has gone down as my soil gets better. And so for me, I try very hard to just hand pick, because that's the most effective way that I have found is to hand pick. And I also so butternut squash and any kind of pumpkins are just awful here with squash bugs. I would go out and sweep up quarts of them. I'm not exaggerating. Like, I would come in with a quart of squash bugs. And so I just don't grow pumpkins. I grow butternuts because those are the best. But I think you have to, especially if you care about growing organically, you just have to choose your battles. And so I grow butternuts, but I don't grow pumpkins because butternuts are better than pumpkin, in my opinion. And so the things that are terrible with bugs, I don't grow for the most part. Cucumbers, those always go down with cucumber beetles eventually.
She keeps trying.
I keep trying. I get a little better every year. But my main weapon with bugs is soil health. And I will use BT for, what's that stand for? Something
Jesus. I'm saying it wrong, but that's what it is.
Something like that. That is one organic spray that I will use one time a year for my broccoli. There's tricks like with broccoli, if you plant it early enough in the season, and then it will mature before the little wormies come out, those white butterflies that lay the wormies. So there's tricks like that you learn. But we don't use any chemicals of any kind. And so if there's a massive bug infestation, I don't really have massive bug infestations anymore, just because I've learned what crops not to grow. So,
and when she says hand pick, it also includes using a 20-volt DeWalt sweeper.
Yes.
That we go out and suck up.
Are you talking about the vacuum that you don't have?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a really funny side note, because when we were at their house, he was talking about how their kids love to sweep, and I was like congratulating them because I also love to sweep. But I mentioned that I really love vacuum, and she and she was like, oh yeah, we don't even have a vacuum. They were talking about like a traditional house vacuum, but literally as she says, we don't have a vacuum in the house, like a vacuum starts up. It's like, and we like all looked at each other and laughed so hard because it was the DeWalt vacuum. But similarly, like my version of hand picking is I go out with my Makita vacuum and I vacuum the bases of all the plants that have, that are more prone to having bugs on them. A couple times in the evenings, like, before bed, and that generally gets rid of the majority of them. And then beyond that, same here. Healthy soil makes healthy plants. Yes. That while the bugs will still exist, the healthy plants. He learned how to cough today, and it's like his new favorite thing. He's not even sick. It's just his new skill. That's the reason I haven't slept in a week. But yeah, the healthy plants create more foliage that are then able to withstand pest pressure. So if you've got a stunted plant because you don't have like good enough soil or you don't have the right nutrients in your soil, then bugs are going to come in and eat the leaves. Yeah, and it'll be done for.
This is a question from the chat about black bears.
We don't have.
You have black bears?
Not around here.
No. We also live by the road, and so we don't have deer problems. And so,
I mean,
in
we
the
probably
future,
would.
if we live in a woods, we might have to have a fence.
Yeah, I did see a bunch of comments earlier. People asking if there's any update on our property.
Yeah.
And just no, there isn't. There's just
we keep looking.
Keep looking. Haven't found anything yet. So we're still here.
I'm praying that God will give me a house for Christmas. That's
all she wants for Christmas is a new house.
That's it?
A
new house on 13 acres. That's all I ask for.
Amazing.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It could happen.
Yeah.
We have gone and looked at a couple houses.
Yeah, we've looked at a couple, but there's always a little something. And then I'll go like on Realtor and I'll scroll for like half an hour at all the houses that I've already looked at. And I'm like, surely one of these would work. And I'll like put my radius out farther, looking farther and farther away. But no, we don't want to move farther away from our church. And so.
It's really interesting. You're saying when we were there, and I think maybe you talked about in the video about like the pesticide drift. Is that what's mostly kind of influencing this potential move?
It's like one of a bunch of reasons. I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back this year.
Summer. Shall I say what happened this summer?
Well, what I was going to say is in the past years, we had these ugly fence rows beside our garden that was kind of covering things up, but then they got cleared to make it look nicer and not scratch vehicles on the driveway next to us. But then that opened it up to the
trees, right?
It opened it up to the fields next to us.
So now I literally have a field that gets sprayed with Roundup a couple yards from my garden. And so this year I started noticing that after the fields would get sprayed, I had disfigured leaves in my garden. And also one of our daughters is having issues with like severe food allergies, food sensitivities and stuff. And I got her tested by 2 different doctors, and they both said that she has a high toxicity load with lots of agricultural chemicals. And that was just the last straw.
And we could put up a fence. We could plant bushes or long grasses or trees or whatever. And so there could be, there are things that we could do. Because here in Ohio, you're not going to get away from all the sprays. You can get a little farther away maybe, but you're not going to completely get away. But then it was like that on top of wanting to have more beef cows. So we need more pasture. Our house is, as the kids get bigger, the house gets smaller. So we either need to put an addition on or move. And so it's like all those things combined. It's just time to find something.
Yeah.
Super chat. Thank you, Helen. Asks, should I plant a garden while we build a house?
I mean, sorry, it like hit me all in a wave and that just like came out. I mean,
we did that and it sucked.
I think if I was to do it, I don't think I could ever just not plant a garden because I'm me. But what I would do is I would have a couple raised beds. Those are so low maintenance. I would have a couple raised beds, and I would be very strategic with what I plant in them. So if you have a raised bed full of lettuce, That's not going to do much. It's not going to go very far in making a dent in your food security goals at all. You can't freeze it. You can't preserve it. It's just, it doesn't really fill you up. I would plant it like chock full of potatoes, and you could get, you know, a whole bunch of potatoes that will actually make a dent. And raised beds, you don't have to weed them very much. They're so low maintenance.
But we, you know, this is when like I was super excited about getting started with the homesteading thing. And we're building the house. I was working a full-time job, building my own house, and we were living in a camper while we were building the house. We had 2 babies, and we planted a garden.
A big one.
A big garden. And it just, it was not a good idea.
Super bad idea.
One thing I really appreciate about Cody and Michelle is, and Michelle specifically, I mean, I don't know you quite as well, Cody, but is how good you are at realizing how limited your time, effort, energy, and capacity is, and then prioritizing accordingly. Because I am famous for always just having a way bigger stomach than a bigger appetite for projects than there are hours in the day. And that has really worn us down in different seasons. But, and I mean, I'm sure you guys have experienced similar things. But what I love talking to you about in the video that we did together was how you actually, like, how little time you actually end up having to do the things that you do, because you're really good at prioritizing what's most important. So I love you said, like, grow potatoes instead of lettuce because there's more calories in potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What other kinds of stuff like that, like, do you have, like, I mean, can you give us a couple other examples of things like that where it's like focus is much better than spreading yourself thinner?
Oh yeah. I'm trying to think. So one thing, I think probably my main piece of advice that I would give any person who wants to have a homestead and actually feed their family from their garden would be to focus on root vegetables that don't need to be canned or frozen. If you have a cold room, you can make one with like a cool bot if you don't have a basement. But if you have a cold room that's the right temp, you can just cure hundreds of pounds of food and put it in there with 0 canning, 0 freezing, and it just saves so much time. If I had to can or freeze or like actively preserve all the food that we have to eat for an entire year, I would legit go out of my mind.
Yeah.
So for me, we grow every year 400 pounds of potatoes and at least 150 pounds of carrots, butternut squash, and that many like 500 pounds of food makes a dent in keeping tummies full. So I think of all the other vegetables like green beans, they're very time consuming. Green beans, broccoli, sweet corn, pea. I don't even do peas. They're just, it's not going to feed you. They taste delicious. They just don't. Yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. I think of those vegetables just as kind of filling in the gaps between the foundation. So figure out the foundation of what you want to make the biggest dent in feeding your family, and then just fill in with all the more difficult stuff. And at first, you don't even have to grow all the difficult stuff. Just focus on potatoes. Honestly. Can you think of anything else?
I don't know. One part of the reason that we started our YouTube channel was because we were learning. Okay, back up even a little farther. The reason that we are so passionate about what you were talking about, Anne, with making sure we don't stretch ourselves too thin and stuff, is because we learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Michelle literally burned out. She had adrenal fatigue, was like on the couch for weeks on end. Like she just couldn't do much. I got so stressed and overwhelmed and everything. And it was through working ourselves out of that we wanted to help other people not go the same way. And in one of our ways of doing that was just learning to be more efficient, making things more simple, more streamlined, and figuring out ways to do that. And that's a lot of the reason why we started a YouTube channel to help with that. So like, I can't think of like specific things that I do because I guess they're so ingrained in me now, but like with the chickens, with the milk cow, with everything, I did a video one time, it was a long time ago, about doing all of my morning chores in less than half an hour. I was feeding chickens, gathering eggs, milking a cow, straining the milk, all that stuff in less than half an hour. Because I was working a full-time job, and you got to figure out how to get all that stuff done and still have time to do the rest of life. And so, yeah, it's just, and it's going to take time. You're not going to watch a few YouTube videos and figure out how to be more efficient, but over time, learning how to make things better, I guess.
Totally. And oh, good, he starts doing that right at that moment. But I was going to say, the other thing, just like for those who are watching, I mean, one of the most helpful things for me in my online journey has been never compare your beginning to someone else's middle. So Cody and Michelle are in the middle of their thing. Also, their thing is very different than what we're in the middle of. And when we start comparing, first of all, comparison is the thief of all joy. And also, comparison is a great way to get distracted from what it is that's actually going to serve your family. Because like all of us have very, very different goals, very different reasons for doing things. I'm so sorry. He just wants to be a star.
He just started talking.
Yeah. We all have different goals, different reasons for doing things, and like truly, if we're looking at someone else, yes, like learn from all of us. Like we're both of us. I mean, we talked about this when we were together filming the video that we shot together. Is the reason that all four of us wanted to make the videos that we make is that we want to help whoever's one step behind us. We're not the experts or anything. We just, whoever's one step behind, we want to give them a helping hand to help, like, you know, bring you all like one step further in the journey, because boy, howdy, this stuff is hard, but all of these skills are incrementally built. They're not built. Like you don't just suddenly quit your tech job, buy 30 acres and, you know, 112 animals and go for it. I mean, some people do. And I think that those are the people that end up really burning out. And so just as an encouragement for those watching, you don't have to do everything that we're doing. And I hope you don't.
Right.
Especially at first.
Right. I have a lot of young moms who reach out to me and they're like, how do I do what you do with babies? And I'm like, you don't. I mean, back in the day when people were doing all this stuff, they lived in like closer communities. And I feel like the older women would help take care of the babies. I actually grieve a lot of the hours that I missed with my babies because I was so distracted trying to get it all done. And it was after that I came down with the adrenal fatigue. And I just learned that you choose what's most important. Nobody can do everything. And so my advice to young moms is just choose something that fits, you know, fits those small gaps in between your children. If you have gaps and start there. We look back and we're like, how did we get so little done yet feel like we were so busy? Because those same things, we do way more now, but it's so easy because we don't have to, it's like, we don't even have to think about it anymore because it's just normal.
Yeah. Because those things have like incrementally built over time. Like if you if you had to learn how to bake bread and learn how to like can and learn how to grow your first vegetable and learn how to milk a cow and learn how to take care of animals and learn how to raise chicks and all those things all at once and have babies. I mean, we also like this, it took us a very long time to have the babies that we wanted for a very, very long time. But it was during that time that we built up so many of the skills that now serve our family. And hilariously, we are in the thick of it, as you can see right now. And we had to massively downsize before he was born because we knew, like, I know myself. I know that if there was so much out there not getting done, that like then I would miss his childhood. I would miss, and then I would grieve all of it. I would grieve missing it with him, and I would grieve what was happening out there. And the reality is I knew myself well enough to know that we had to shrink things in a big way so that I could put my full focus on parenting, especially like, you know, it gets harder the more you have. We would love to hopefully have more. so we're in a season of like, wow. I mean, you said you got your chores down to 30 minutes. I had to make sure that Adam could do the chores in 30 minutes. And surely I could probably do a lot more chores in 30 minutes because I've been doing this for 13 years than he could when he first started doing them. But that was our cutoff, is that, you know, if we were ever going to be able to work and have a kid and, you know, stay married and all those things, we were going to have to like shrink things in a huge way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we did.
Yeah. The other thing I think with that too is what people used to do is they worked all the time. Like there was almost no such thing as play. I mean, there was, but I had been getting chicken feed from some Amish about an hour away from here. And they are the very like, there's different brands of Amish, if you want to put it that way. But these Amish, like no electricity, they don't do the battery stuff. They don't do anything like that. And every time I go up there, it doesn't matter what time of day it is, they're just always working. I mean, I would go up there like, you know, later in the evening after I was done with my work, and I would go to pick up the feed, but they were still working.
Yep.
And it's like, that's just how they lived. That's just what they do.
The social expectations now are so different, and we don't feel like it's fair to make our kids the complete weirdos by never having them do anything, never going anywhere. So that's kind of where the name More Than Farmers came from, is like, how can we live this healthy lifestyle, but still be able to have time for social things? Yeah.
Totally.
I saw the super chat. I saw a super chat going there. I don't think I can put it up. Somebody asked the question.
Oh, you can? Oh my gosh. Emily, listen, thank God Emily's also here, because I was just about to like just move on with the live stream because I don't know how to do anything technological at all. Oh yeah, it is. Look at you. Wow.
Hey.
If this person's name is Control Z, that's what pops up. Thank you so much for that. By the way, how do we get rid of dreaded pests like Japanese beetles and stink bugs?
Stink bugs are the worst.
Stink bugs, I hate to tell you, you're probably never going to get rid of them entirely, but I will say that something that worked really well for me this year that I was kind of skeptical about, but tried anyway, was putting wood ash from the fire pit around all of my cucumber bits. So that's cucumbers, you know, watermelons, squashes, pumpkins, all those things. Again, I didn't actually grow a lot of those, but usually we, like down here, we almost cannot grow zucchini. And like, which is funny because back in Seattle, we would literally grow hundreds of pounds of it and give it to the food bank because we're just like, what could we possibly do with all this? But down here, it's like almost impossible to grow zucchini. And I had so much zucchini this year, hilariously, because I threw some in because I was like, I'm just going to try it. And also more cucumbers this year than I've ever grown. So for what it's worth, that helps. And then with the Japanese beetles, something that really helped us was planting amaranth everywhere on accident, but we're going to call it on purpose. And it's because in Washington, again, amaranth grows to be about this tall, but here it grows to be 14 feet tall, and it like puts off so much stuff. Random side note, it's an amazing grain you can then grind and eat as like oatmeal mush. Like there's all kinds of things you can do with amaranth, but the best thing that you can do is scatter some seeds on the exterior areas of your garden, and the Japanese beetles will flock to it and eat their hearts out on the amaranth, leave your other stuff alone.
Interesting. The thing that I found the most helpful with stink bugs, those are my nemesis in the garden. The thing that helped me the most was trellising. If you have everything on a trellis, I have noticed that anything on the ground is covered with the stink bugs. Everything on the trellis is almost left completely alone. So I trellis everything that I can. And also a sweeper works the best. And if you can say what?
The vacuum again.
Oh yes. If you can hand pick as many of those, as many of the eggs as possible, you can kind of get ahead of them a little bit. I mean, once I'm in canning preserving season, I give up. But if you can keep the bugs away until the squash are pretty big And then I'm like, okay, you can kill the plants now. So you won't completely get rid of them that way, but you can get ahead of them enough that you'll get some squash.
Yeah.
Totally. And next year, try sprinkling some wood ash around the bottom of your trellis. Because actually, that was the other thing that I forgot to mention is that like getting the leaves up off the ground is important, because then the bugs are going to have to crawl up the stalk to be able to get it. And if they have to crawl through some dry, and that's the key, is that it needs to be dry. Like every time after it rains, you spread some more dry wood ash around. But if they have to walk through that dry wood ash to be able to get up the stalk to be able to then lay their eggs, that it works basically the same as diatomaceous earth. It's just free. It desiccates their exoskeletons. So
the other thing is that they will overwinter in the soil, and so if you run your chickens over your garden, they will eat all of the overwintering bugs out, and that is very helpful. I actually called Berlin Seed about squash bugs one year because I was so desperate, and I was like, maybe their customer service can help me. And they said that even like pesticides are not crazy effective on the adults because they have like this coat of armor that the spray has to try to get through to actually kill the bug. So you're much better off trying to take care of the eggs.
Yep. I will say that chickens are not an option in our garden setup. I was really envious of how you had that patch that we showed in the video that you're like, the grass just took over here, so we're letting the chickens take care of it. But because we have so many perennials interplanted in all of our garden beds, if I were to put the chickens out there, and I'm not saying that like to argue with you, I'm literally just in case anyone else here has followed my advice, be careful not to throw your chickens in there, or you will no longer have asparagus and artichokes and other things that are perennials next year. So slight difference there. But I mean, I will say that I like at one point was so desperate to have the birds eat through that stuff that I literally made like a tunnel I'm like, just like go for it as far as you can.
Yes.
Do your best, but please, for the love, don't ruin everything.
Yes, totally.
Awesome. Well, I'm just going to ask the next question on the list then, because I don't know how to do you know how to?
I can't do the ones on Adam's, but I can do chat questions.
Oh yeah, perfect. You can probably just put it up. Okay, so the next question is this is what the subtle foreshadowing from earlier. Why are my root veggies, potatoes, garlic, etc., always small?
I mean, obviously it's a soil issue of some kind. It just is. Like, that's what it always comes down to.
Well, number one, besides, you can go on with like nutrients or whatever, but number one, root veggies need loose soil. So even besides any kind of nutrient deficiency or anything like that, if you have like hard packed clay soil, roots need to be able to expand, and it's really hard for them to expand. So that would be the first thing. Sure.
And if you have too much nitrogen, and then root veggies are not going to do well because it's all going to go into the foliage. You're going to have beautiful foliage, but you won't have much of a root. But for like onions love nitrogen. So there's like garlic and onions in there. Those aren't really root veggies.
Totally.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can maybe separate that, and I'll ask you guys a separate question. But I'll also say that like what you guys said is 100% right. Like either your soil is way too dense. We had solid clay when we moved here, and instead of tilling it or anything else, I just put I got really good at composting. And so if you want to learn how to do a beginner's guide to composting, we have a video about that. You can check it out on our channel. But I just basically got really good at composting. I put a nice thick layer of compost and then arborist chips and leaves because we have a forest right behind us. So I literally took my leaf blower and like gathered up as many leaves as I could and just dumped it year after year on the garden, and adding year after year to it instead of tilling or breaking up the soil has helped me to like basically create a buffer zone where roots still have space to grow. But in that, with like Michelle said, it's an issue. So if you're a very beginner gardener, like nitrogen creates greens and phosphorus and potassium create roots. And so if you have if you plant carrots in like straight horse poop, you're going to have beautiful carrot greens, and you're going to have the stubbiest little carrot that ever existed. But if you plant carrots in nice loose soil that has plenty of phosphorus and potassium then you're going to have a lot better luck at growing carrots in that soil. And I think, I mean, one of the, like, everyone always loves seeing the shots of you, Michelle, pulling enormous, just like bushels. Sorry, this is backwards. So every time I try to be on camera, I end up being off camera. But like enormous bushels of carrots out of the soil, because that's one of the other things, one of your staple vegetables. Can you just talk a little bit about your carrots and how you store them really quick? Because I think that that's something very interesting to everyone, including myself.
Yeah, so I try to grow around 150 pounds of carrots. This year I backed off just a little bit and I did 120 pounds, just simply because we had so many last year that I had to feed some of them to the chickens, which isn't a waste. It's just not the best use of my time. So the way we pull them, number one, everybody asks me, how do you get carrots to grow? For me, the trick has always been, it can't be too hot when you plant them. So if you're planting like in August or whenever, no, it wouldn't be August, it would be July. For fall carrots, you have to cover your rows with a board, just like a nice thin board. And then as soon as they pop up, as soon as the seedlings pop up underneath there, you take the board off. Obviously.
That'll just keep them like shaded and moist for a little bit.
Damp. And
so
carrot
seedling board on like what kind of board? You like
a like a pine 1x6, or if you had
drop the seeds on top of the soil.
She plants the carrots, then we just put a board on top of it. So the carrot patch looks a little funny for a little while.
You're like, what are they doing? Yeah, but it keeps it cool and damp, which is what carrots like. They have such a fine seedling that comes up. And so if you have hard, rocky soil, they're not going to germinate well. And so I try to, when I have planted carrot seeds, they take a little bit longer than some seeds to germinate. I keep them damp all the time. I'll water them twice a day until they pop up. And then I thin them to at least like 2 inches apart, because your carrots are only going to get as big as the space you give them. So thinning is a huge thing, especially if you want the big storage carrots that are actually going to last in your refrigerator or cold room.
Because those little don't last.
The little ones will just shrivel up, and they taste delicious right at first, but they're not going to store long. So if you want carrots to store until next spring, they've got to be the big ones.
And do you plant Dovers? Is that the variety you plant?
Danver half long.
What's it called?
Danver half long.
I think they actually changed the name to Danvers 126 or something like that. But
that doesn't sound near as nice.
It doesn't.
Yeah, that sounds organic, but we'll go with it.
Commercial or something.
But the half long comes from that they're like shorter and then they're stumpier.
And that's another secret to like the stumpy ones. Those are the ones that last a really long time. And also the short ones are easier to pull and they don't break off as easily as the long ones. And if you have a broken carrot, it's not going to store. So that's a big one.
Just like sweet potatoes, basically, right?
Say what?
Just like sweet potatoes, like, you know, you can, these like really long, huge ones are great, but like if it breaks off, it's going to be more prone to.
Yep. Then you have to eat it right away. Yeah. Then I just cut the tops off and put them into plastic bags, and I tape the bags shut. This, I think, is probably controversial. I didn't even know it was. I just found that if there was air that could get into the bags, the carrots would kind of shrivel. It was like they were somewhat dehydrating, I guess. So I just tape them shut, tape the bags shut with packing tape. I just use like Walmart bags, double bag them, tape up any holes, and they will sometimes sprout in there. I don't know. They might get like a little bit slimy by the end of the season, but when you wash them up, they're still perfectly fine. I think that's another thing with any storage crops is you have to adjust your expectations of what a potato that is 6 months old, what's it going to look like? Totally. It's not going to look like the perfect grocery store potato, but it's 100% edible and all the stuff. And we store them in a refrigerator in our basement. I have like not the old fridge. Say what?
Not the potatoes. You store the carrots in your fridge.
Carrots in the grocery bags. I store those in an old fridge. Just put it to one of the warmest settings on the fridge. You want it. I think it's like 45 degrees.
It's not warmest. It's pretty cool.
But you don't want one of those refrigerators that the stuff in the back freezes. You don't want that. Right. That will destroy your carrots. And that's all.
Yeah.
So we skipped one of your questions, so it didn't have the headline, but we're now on a different one. So catching him up from Baby Duty. Do you want your mic back?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm going to show this one
Okay.
because it's from a 7-year-old.
Hi, Nora.
That. Nora.
So we have all together there is 4 of them out there right now, but only 2 of them would be considered cows. So we have a older mama cow, and then we have a heifer that is needing to be bred to become a mama cow. And then we have 2 steers out there that we're raising for beef. So we have 4, and the goal is that someday we will have more land and we will be able to have, I want to have at least, I don't know, maybe 6 mama cows out there, something like that. And so part of the problem is what we're running into is we keep running out of beef. We used to keep up with it fine with the calves we were raising from our milk cow, but
Our kids are getting older.
and we
eating
also
so
just
much
started eating more protein in general.
Yeah.
And we keep running out of beef before our next steer is ready to be butchered. So we need more beef for us, and then I would like to be able to sell a little bit. So, Yep.
Especially in this economy.
Yes.
We had just we had to kind of start it over with our herd a couple of years ago, but we had just gotten to the tipping point where suddenly we have more cows than we have land to support. And I had previously been like, I'm never going to take an animal to auction. I'm always just going to butcher. But anyway, our neighbor recently passed away, and we took we had taken care of his cows and took his calves to auction. And we were like, we got more for those calves than we would have gotten for fully raised out stuff. So we were like, so we loaded 3 cows, three steers up into the trailer and just took them straight to auction, because we're like, why would we go through all the trouble when we could just make more than we would have made a few years ago? And with that, we supplemented, just from those, we supplemented all the rest of our cows for the year. So that was cool.
Wow. It's amazing.
Adam, would you mind throwing that one comment up there? Somebody saying about our realistic life.
Oh,
it's like maybe 8 comments up or something like that.
Emily's got it. She's on it.
This one?
Yeah. I just wanted to say to that real quick, because we were talking about earlier how if you want to make something happen, you can. So I understand where that would be coming from. Like that what I was doing seemed a little bit crazy, but it was true. I wanted to lose some weight. And so I was on a diet, and I wanted to get faster at running. And at the same time, I was running to lose weight. And then I also had my chores to do, and I also had my full-time job, and I did make it happen. And I did not run 9 miles in the morning before my chores. If I did 9-mile runs, they were on Saturdays or something like that. But if it's just, it comes back to, again, if you want to make something happen, you really can. You just got to figure out how to make it work. I'm on Strava with some of my family and stuff, and I see that my brother-in-law is up at 4:30 doing his workouts and stuff before he goes to work. And you just got to
make it happen.
Is Strava like an app?
Yeah, it's like bicycle.
It's like social media for running nerds. And
love that.
I guess they use running too.
Love that.
Yeah.
And actually, that really leads into something that's been pinging around in my brain a lot lately. Is that again, because I read. If you ever leave a comment or anything on any one of our social media things, I will see it. I might not always be able to respond, but I read every single comment.
Wow.
Even negative ones.
It's true. She does.
Yeah. And it's just because I'm like, well,
so be nice.
Yeah, be nice. Although I will say that after so long of doing this, I do kind of cherish some of the really awful comments.
It is like half of our humor between.
We have a very dark sense of humor. And we really appreciate screenshotting the most awful things that guys on the internet will say.
Our camera roll is like half of it is just screenshots of really weird comments.
Really
We're very different people. I don't read any comments because
but anyway, all I want to say that this thing has basically been pinging around in my brain because I'm sure you guys do too, but I get the question, how do I start or where would I get started or you know, I could never imagine doing what you do in a day or whatever it is. And like the phrase, an object in motion stays in motion and an object at rest stays at rest, has been just like pinging around in my brain in response to that kind of attitude a lot. And it's not that, like, not in any way throwing shade at you know, people who aren't already doing the things. It's just that when you're already in the mindset of, hey, like I wake up and I do these things and my body's moving from sun up to sundown, it's not as big of a deal to add a little another thing to it. But it is a really big deal to try to, like, to suddenly try to do something that's very different from what you're already doing. And I say that not as a discouragement, hopefully it doesn't come off as that, but really as an encouragement for people that if, like, starting anything, like, it takes an enormous amount of energy to get the pendulum swinging.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to start and it's really, really hard, yeah. Duh. It would be.
Yeah.
Like, and I can even say that just like recovering from pregnancy and everything like that. I used to be able to go hard for 18 hours every day and it was no problem.
Yeah.
And then we had a really complicated pregnancy, delivery, etc. And like I spent more time on the couch in the last year than I've spent on the couch in my entire life cumulatively. Yeah. And boy, howdy, has it been so hard for me to like pick up and try to
start again.
Figure out, to start again. Mm-hmm. And so if it's hard for you to start right now, I'm just, it's okay. And I would expect that it would be.
Yep. Yeah.
So take heart, be kind and gracious to yourself, because I think a lot of us who really want to change things for ourselves are not very good at being kind to ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Super chat in the comments, my channel PC2XY, thank you. Can you guys talk about how you deal with power outages and stored food? Did you rewire or just plug into generators?
You guys answer first.
Okay. So first of all, we talked about our root vegetables a little bit that we store in our cold cellar. And that's actually one of the reasons why we like relying on those foods more than other foods, is because that doesn't require any electricity. Mm-hmm. The stuff in the cold cellar can just be in the cold cellar. It doesn't matter what the weather is outside. And then we do have our freezers for our meat and stuff like that. And we have, I know what you have, and what you have is maybe a little cooler than what we have. But what we have is a gas-powered generator that I did the work myself. I put a plug on the outside of the house that has a wire going to the breaker box, and you get what is called a darn it, and I don't remember what it's called, but it's just like this little metal piece that you put inside your breaker box with a big breaker, and it just makes so you can't have the breaker for the plug and your main breaker turned on at the same time. So you have to turn that main breaker off, and then you can turn the other one on, and it lets your generator feed into your house. And our generator is big enough that I don't think we could like run multiple big things at once, but we could easily run our cook stove or run the dryer or whatever, and it'll keep our freezers running for sure. So there's that for the freezers. The other thing, people have asked about chest freezers versus upright freezers. And just as a little bonus, chest freezers will keep food frozen longer. So if there is a power outage, you could probably go for up to like 3 days if you don't open those freezers, and the stuff in there will probably stay frozen.
Which is more efficient.
Yeah.
Plus, upright freezers are like, the idea is great because you can see everything, but like trying to stack meat that you raised yourself, which is not square or like stackable, it's very lumpy. That's a great word. Falls down. I can't even tell you how many times I have played pinky toe roulette with like going out to the freezer with my bare feet to our one upright freezer, opened it and had like 16 2-pound like things of bacon fall out right near my toes.
And yes.
And so, actually, I love the idea of an upright freezer, but I really don't like the application.
They don't function very well.
Yeah.
Downright chest freezers are the way to go. And the thing is that with that, use a FIFO system, first in, first out, like just constantly be rotating. I have a dry erase marker that I keep on like tied to the freezer, and I write on top of the freezer what's in there and when it went in, so that I know, like without opening it to look through it, I know exactly what's in there, like how many pork shoulder roasts I have left, how many ribs I have left, and all that stuff, so that I'm not just like creating a ever shrinking icicle of death for our food.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, canned goods obviously don't need any electricity. For our heat, we would probably be a good idea to have a wood stove, but we don't. We have a pellet stove, which does take a little bit of electricity, but it takes such little electricity. All it is running the auger and the fan. So a generator will easily keep that going. And for water, let's say our generator wasn't working and we just needed water. I actually have a hand pump on top of our well that it's not going to be a lot of flowing water, but you can pump it and you can get like I could do it to where we could have water for ourselves or for our animals. So there's like a few little things we do here and there. But one thing that we do really stress on our channel is not living out of fear. So obviously some of that preparedness stuff is just necessary. We live in the country and power outages happen, but we're not like, we don't have pallets of MREs stashed away in the basement. We don't have like these massive setups and, tinfoil hats and all the kind of stuff to like protect us from anything and everything. Cause it's not based on fear. It's based on responsibility. So
I like that.
I think that's actually why we're friends, because we also are constantly like, it's just I understand like there are many things that could provide a fearful existence in this. And I think that there's an echo chamber among many homesteaders and farmers right now of how things are definitely going to go to crap. But I also really like to believe in humanity a little bit more. And like, I don't think the grid's going to go down. If it does, okay, yeah, our life is going to become a little bit more inconvenient. But we also kind of know what to do if it does. And I'm not going to live in fear of that. I'm going to live today. Like, I think, you worry about the worries of today and you let tomorrow take care of itself, because boy, howdy, there's a lot that we could be worrying about. And that's just going to take energy and time and everything and joy away from the life that we could otherwise be living.
Well, and if you're homesteading out of this place of like, I have to do this, I know what that feels like. Actually, it's kind of like this panic. And so when something goes wrong, it's like, oh no. And it's very hard to be gracious with yourself when you're doing something out of fear. And I just found that I'm a far more productive person when I am working and creating things out of a place of, oh, I love this lifestyle. Yeah. I love feeding my family wholesome food. I love having my bare feet in the soil, rather than, oh, the grid might go down, so this potato crop had better happen. It's grinding versus just doing something out of, I love this.
Yeah. And we think that a lot, especially now with our kids too, that we would love for them to take on some of this, at least some of this lifestyle, even if they don't want to do all of it, at least some of it, but not because they're scared. Like, we don't want them when they're adults looking back and be like, our parents were just living in fear and doing all this stuff. We want them to look back and be like, that was so much fun. Like, our parents loved, partnering with the soil, partnering with nature. Our parents loved living this lifestyle. And so we love it too. So that's part of it too. And that question that was asked didn't sound like a question that was fear-based at all. So I didn't mean to like throw that person under the bus to ask the question. But anytime that I think about the power outage stuff and whatever, it always leads me into thinking about often what comes, people are asking, basing it out of fear. So anyways.
Totally. This like farming and stuff, it's hard enough like already. And fear is not a good long-term motivator. I mean, it can help get you going if you're really, really like stuck or something, but long-term, it's just not sustainable to have fear be the thing that keeps you going, because it's not going to keep you going.
Yeah.
Joy will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too that like posting about joy on social media isn't as viral as posting something fearful. And so I think that a lot of channels
in this economy,
I think that a lot of channels, I mean, you get more clicks, you get more engagement if you say something unexpected or something that's like, whoa, what? Oh, I have to look at that. And if that is somebody's business model, think about that before you
buy into it.
Yeah.
Again, this is why we're friends. Joy, hope is far more valuable, I think, in the long run than fear will ever be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can I get an amen in the comment section?
Light up the
All right,
comment.
Adam, let's get this back on track.
Yeah, so
in your absence, I
don't know what I missed, but I put a question up on the screen for you, Michelle. I don't know if you talked about this, but I'm actually curious to hear your answer to this as a new parent.
Well, I mean, first of all, enjoy your baby. Honestly, we waited 5 years. Then we had our first 3 really close together. So right now we have a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 9-year-old.
12, 11, 9.
12, 11, 9.
They'll be 12, 11, 10 here before long.
And then we had a 5-year gap, and I had another baby. She's 5 now. And I just soaked up everything about her because I realized what all I missed with my first 3. And part of that, you can only soak up so much when you have a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a baby. So just saying. But I mean, I just worked at nap times. I was a very scheduled person. This is very controversial, but I had adrenal fatigue super bad. And if I didn't get my sleep at night, I just couldn't, I could hardly even exist during the day. And so I was a very, very scheduled person. I got them up at a certain time and I put them down for naps, and I just really capitalized on the nap time. I would if I could, I knew the things that I could do with them and the things that I could do with the things that I could only do without them. And I just prioritized that little nap time. I just hammered down. So, I mean, honestly, that's my biggest tip, but there is only so much you can do. I would take a blanket out to the garden, and sometimes they stayed on the blanket and sometimes they didn't. And I would, put snacks and stuff on the blanket and hope they stayed on there. There's just only I don't know if I have any better tips than that, because babies are babies.
There's a number of women, especially on Instagram, homesteading with the babies on their backs or whatever, doing all their work and stuff. Michelle had back issues and she couldn't do that.
It's just not
she wasn't that kind of girl. So.
Well, and I also felt like if I had the baby on me, I worked slower. And so it was actually faster for me to actually put the baby down for a nap and hammer down. I got just as much work done that way as if I had the baby on me the entire day. And I'm also a bit of an introvert, and I get overstimulated. And so I was just like, I can't, I can't be touched all day. So I don't know. Just be gracious with yourself is my best advice.
And I think you already you knew yourself well enough that you downsized.
Right.
You knew that you're going to need to take a little break. And I think that was really, really wise. Good.
I will be publicly honest and tell everyone that even though we downsized, I did, especially in the throes of postpartum, really, really struggle with the identity loss, the independence loss, and other things. Again, we wanted this so bad that I think that there's half of us that are really good at enjoying him, because we know what it was like to not have him.
Yes.
And how painful and hard and everything that was. But also on the other side of it too, we had 12 years without kids, and we both got really independent during that time. And me especially, I'm used to just being able to pop out and hop on the tractor, and do what needs to be done in an emergency situation. And so it's not I've never resented him, and I do genuinely believe that if we'd been able to have kids much younger, I would have probably had a much harder time with this than I do now, because truly, even the hardest things, I'm you know what, this is actually as hard as this is, it's kind of great. But that's again, after many, many struggles to get here. But the thing is that as prepared as I thought I was, I also have for anyone who's here, who's oh my gosh, you're still doing so much. I'm trust me, it doesn't feel like it.
Right.
And I laugh about your blanket because actually Adam is the mother hen in this relationship. and he's very good at like kind of reeling me in when it comes to like, well, maybe don't do that with him. But like I literally put him like we were out in the garden the other day and I put him out on like a piece of cardboard and he like kind of rolled off. And I was like, no, and I was like, what's the worst that could happen? Like he's
grounding.
We're in it. He's working on it. It's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
another thing I will say that I did, and like now everyone says, oh, this is so bad for a baby's build, whatever. But I had a bumbo seat and my kids loved to be sitting up in the bumbo seat and they couldn't get out. But I would put stuff on the tray and I could really get things done while they were sitting in their seat. But yeah, is that a huge tip?
Oh yeah, there's another controversial little thing that like, listen, I am a fully confident, able adult, the elf at this point. Who knows if my spine was shrunk by this thing, but like those little seats that like you can run around. Like Alexander he's the most active baby I've ever seen in my life. Like and when I was pregnant, we started feeling him on the outside at 14 weeks because he never stops moving or kicking. And it's the same on the outside as it was on the inside. So he wants to be moving, even though he can't actually walk. So we got him one of those little scootery thing seats and it's like, whatever. All that to say, I showed yesterday on Instagram my wagon situation that I have for him. And it's got a piece of firewood that's a brake and a blanket and a bunch of his toys, and I get to like pull him around and he does the stuff, and it's been a real game changer. So
yes.
Anyway, yes, thank you for asking that question. Love it. And also thank you. I mean, this is actually why the timing of visiting Cody and Michelle and making the video we did was so impactful for us, because we have seen and admired how they've chosen to do life differently with their kids and involve their kids in life instead of just being like, you know what, this is separate.
Yeah.
Because that is, I mean, the only reason we left tech and work together, as hard as it is, I mean, our working together as spouses fun? Michelle and Cody, is it great? Is it the dream that everyone hoped it would be?
It is the dream. Nobody says it's not a nightmare sometimes, but
this is what we spent, I think, most of the time when we were together talking about is that it is a dream.
It is.
And we're thankful for the dream. And it
takes a lot of work.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So we tolerate that though, because it's like, what are we doing for our family? And this comes back to, why are we doing what we're doing? Mm-hmm. Are we comparing it to other people, or are we comparing it to what we want for our family?
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Yeah. I think this is a really good question. If you've already covered this in the brief moment I was out of the room, I apologize.
I love that question.
But I think that this is a very practical question for people who maybe watch the video and want to know, well, okay, what's like the first thing I do?
This is all you, Michelle.
So I think
it's hard to think back that far.
Well, I think though what they're saying, the way I'm taking this question is, what are the first steps to having a garden that actually will feed your family,
rather than just
a regular garden? I think it's just like paring everything down to the absolute necessities first. Like, what are your I call them staple crops. My staple crops are white potatoes, number one, sweet potatoes, carrots, butternut squash, and onions. And if I have those 5 crops, I can make a massive dent in feeding my family over the winter time.
Yeah.
And so when I'm planting my garden, the first thing I do is I get a piece of paper and I make sure that I have the space blocked out for as much of those crops as I want. And then after I have that established, and then I will start going and finding other things to fill in the gaps. Like, that to me is the number one thing. Like I said before, you can have a raised bed of lettuce or a raised bed of white potatoes. Which of those is going to give you the biggest bang for your buck, the biggest return for what you are putting in? For a while, I didn't grow, like when I had babies, I didn't grow flowers. I didn't grow herbs. I grew nothing except like the basics.
But back up a little bit, when we were first like getting started, I think me especially, I was like looking at these seed catalogs and I was so excited about all the different things we could grow. And so we were just trying to grow all these different things, but then we just didn't do very well.
Yeah, like I would grow Swiss chard, tastes like dirt. Nobody likes it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, whenever I say that, people are like, I like it. And I'm like, okay, if you like it, fine. But I was growing Swiss chard. One year I grew like grocery bags full of turnips because I was like, man, these things are so easy to grow. And it's like a root crop that you can store in a refrigerator, just like a carrot, and they'll last for months. But we didn't like them.
Well, okay, so to be fair with that, if you do like
it
turnips,
was his idea, so he's defending it.
No, if you do like turnips, that would actually be a good thing to grow to feed your family.
True.
But we just don't like turnips. So
but wait, I have a quick follow-up question. Is the reason that you like turnips because they're cooked in bacon grease with garlic? Because that's the reason that everyone tells me I should like chard.
That's like the number one comment.
Here's the thing. Bacon grease and garlic are delicious. And if you cook, what if you cook something else that already is delicious in bacon grease and garlic?
I will say, I do love a sliced raw turnip. But you can't put turnips in all. You can only do so much with a turnip. So
I don't know about that either. I mean, you can make like mashed turnips, like mashed potatoes. You could add.
Why wouldn't you just make mashed potatoes?
Preach.
I'm just saying. Some people do have like some people have the what is it, Colorado potato beetles that are like super bad, like wipe out their crops of potatoes and stuff. We don't have that problem. So if you had that problem and you like turnips, you could plant turnips. Point being, one of the first steps towards a garden that feeds your family is growing something that you can grow that will store easily, that takes as little work as possible, like storing a potato or a turnip takes very little work compared to like shelling peas and freezing them or like blanching certain things or whatever. So
something that's easy to grow, and that's something that's going to vary with your zone. Totally. That's a huge thing. So don't just look at my garden and be like, okay, I'm going to do exactly what she's saying, because sweet potatoes in certain zones don't grow very well. So choose what works really good for your climate. And then kind of the way I chose my staple crops is it has to be relatively easy to grow, not too many pests. It needs to be very filling and nutritious. And it needs to be very simple to preserve. I need to be able to grow like hundreds of pounds of it. And it has to be something versatile that you really like. So I just went through my garden. I'm embarrassed to say I grew Swiss chard every single year for probably 6 solid years. And all of a sudden it kind of kicked me in the butt. I was like, why am I growing this? Because it stresses me out to cook it. And I also used to grow spaghetti squash, and I was the only one who liked it. And so once a week, I had to fight my family to eat this spaghetti squash because it was easy to grow and it stored well. And so I ended up giving that up. So just grow food that your family likes. That sounds super
obvious, but it's like not obvious.
But it's life-changing.
Yeah, it's life-changing, not obvious, because I think that there's, again, this comes back to like the social media and like having people to look at that are growing things well. Like the reason Swiss chard, not to like really just drive this one home, but the reason it grows so well is because pests don't eat it, because it tastes like crap to them too. And the reality is, like, even turnips in this environment, like all the like the little black beetles that eat everything really early in the season love turnips. And so here, turnips, ironically, this is the great climate for them. This is where they should grow really well. They're really hard to grow early in the season because those little black beetles get them really early. And then similarly, we're in a warmer climate than you. So actually growing regular potatoes here is way harder than it was when we lived in Seattle. But growing sweet potatoes is so easy here. Mm-hmm. And so again, just like thinking, like, I love your 5 like categories for what makes it a good crop to grow for your families, that you like it, that it's easy to grow, that it's easy to store. And forgive me, I forgot the last 2, but.
And then just grow that stuff.
Yes.
Then once you get good at that stuff,
add
some more stuff in. But yeah, if you try to grow it all at once, that's where you'll struggle. You'll get frustrated, and then you'll want to give up on it or be like, I can't do this, but you can.
Yeah.
The other thing that really hit me when I was at your guys' farm was that when we were walking through your garden, like I grow my garden very differently than you, and for different reasons. Because like we have my dairy partner our business is dairy, and my dairy partner, her husband has a CSA, so we don't have to grow a ton of vegetables. But what I do in our garden at home is I grow a picking garden. So like every night we just pick what's fresh for dinner. But when I was talking to you about that and time management specifically, it really hit me that like one of the reasons that your life works the way that it does with kids, with homeschooling, with everything that you're doing is that you're not growing a picking garden.
Nope.
You're not going out and harvesting for half an hour for dinner every day. And though that is like a personal, soothing, fun thing for me to do in a season like what we're currently going through, as we've all experienced together tonight, it's not sustainable for me to spend a half an hour harvesting the freshest, goodest things for dinner tonight. It's like we're lucky if we can pull something out, grab it, and run up to the house and cook it before we all fall asleep.
Right.
And that was the thing that really, really stuck with me from like watching you do your thing at home, was that you were not like, you're not growing chard so you can pick a beautiful chard salad for dinner. You're growing the things that are the biggest bang for the buck calorically. That's like calorie dense things that also your family loves to eat. That's easy. And I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
All right, Adam, get us back on track. Where's our question? Where are we at with our questions that we had?
So we have another super chat from Lizra Realm. Michelle and Cody, what was your biggest takeaway from container gardening? Anything you would or would not do again?
Ooh. So the container garden really threw me for a loop. I thought I was going to be great at it. I really did. I was like, how hard can this be? But number one, my porch was very shady. So my biggest takeaway is if you basically find a very good fertile soil for your container garden. I way under fertilized. Basically, when you are watering those containers, the water drains out the bottom and it just pulls nutrients straight out. And so I was trying to treat my container garden like I treat my in-ground garden with like no fertilizing and stuff, and it did not work. So everything stayed really small. I got almost no yield from it. The only thing that really grew well was lettuce. I had herbs that did well.
It was actually kind of cool for the lettuce because we don't grow lettuce in the main garden in the summer because it just gets bitter.
Too hot, yeah.
But then we could have some fresh salads that were nice from the container garden.
That was cool. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed tea did pretty well, but make sure that you're getting adequate sunshine. That's a really big deal for container garden. They need everything they can get, and fertilize big time. So
side note, one of my very favorite comments that we've ever gotten on our YouTube channel was somebody that was saying that they live in an apartment and all they have, like they don't have anywhere to grow. And I guess they might have like a little balcony, but it's shaded. And so they put their plants in a wagon and every day they pull their plants out into the sun and then they pull them back in later. And I just thought that was so cool. It's just like
dedication.
Blew it out of the water. Those comments that are like, I can't do this. How do whatever, like that person was doing it.
Yes.
Like they were making it happen.
That's like, if you want to, you will.
Yep.
And I love it because the reality is that's like one of the things that frustrates me the most about like online comments, because I read every single one, is like all the reasons why we can't. And like the thing is that if you're focused on why you can't, you're right. But if you're also focused on why you can, you're also right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's a big thing.
Yes. So just to be clear, I loved the container gardening. It was a very fun experiment. I think coming from the size and the yield of a garden that I do, I felt like I was doing nothing because, I mean, I would pick like a little head of broccoli and I was like, what's this going to do for me? I mean, that's me being very honest. But if I was living in an apartment or something, it would absolutely do me so much good. But if you're going to do it, you have to fertilize and fertilize weekly. Towards the end of the season, I started fertilizing every single week. And all of a sudden, my greens were growing beautifully. So just be sure to choose crops that also do well in the amount of sunshine.
Quick clarifying question there. What do you mean by fertilize?
So, I mean, like actual fertilizer. Okay. I tried worm castings. I tried all kinds of stuff. And the only thing that worked was an organic fertilizer that I got at a greenhouse. Okay. The owner told me this is a really good one. Just use this. And it changed everything. And I kind of just feel like it needs this extra punch because I watered it every day. So every single day you have water running through the soil and down out the bottom out of the drain holes, and it just pulls everything out. So
and you have to water it more often because it dries out a lot faster.
Yeah, it's just a whole different animal.
Yeah.
So quick devil's advocate on that. If like in theory, compost, like good quality compost, compost is water insoluble. So it the nutrients from good compost don't run out the way that fertilizer does. Fertilizer is water soluble. So if you are on a massive budget and you're trying to do this stuff, like you don't want to fertilize and those things, the best bang for your buck is actually just to spend a little bit of time learning how to compost really well, and then spending $30 on a soil test to find out exactly where you're at with your compost. And like, I think for me, even I never thought to test my compost until the last 2 years when I really got into like soil stuff. But the thing is that when you're adding like a fertilizer, like man-made or any kind of synthetic things, even if it's organic, all that stuff is going to be water soluble. So when you're container gardening, that's going to wash right out. Whereas if you have compost that is well balanced that you can use as your planting medium to begin with, it's water insoluble. So it's not, those nutrients aren't going to run away as quickly. And so that's my devil's advocate thing. And I will just say that like, I don't do a ton of container gardening, but I have done like a bit this year, literally just because I'm like, the garden that has thrived the most mid-baby is the like tiny little thing that I built in packing containers on our front porch so that I can like walk out and grab it. And the only reason that it has done as well as it has is that we're like 5 years in on me adding like these are Home Depot packing boxes with like really, really good soil in it. And in that container situation, like the nutrients in theory at least don't wash away as much.
Interesting. That's such a great perspective. I mean, I've done like no research. I didn't actually even put our compost in it. I just got this like brand new soil from the greenhouse that I was told was like really good. And
I mean, surely it is. I mean, and like, just to like, for everyone watching, like in a moment of encouragement, if that's what you're starting with, like, great. It's literally just like, understand the science too. That's going into that. They've created a product that they can sell, and then you can buy it, but just know what you're putting into it. So it's worth probably the $30 and the 30 hours of experimenting with compost to add to that. And season after season, what are we trying to do? We're trying to learn a lesson that we take into next season's growing. Because like, if you're just doing it for this year and it's like, well, this year was a total fail. Right. I'm never going to do it again. Well, none of us here. How good were you at growing cucumbers the first year you tried? Like, how good were you at whatever it is? Like, I sucked at growing most of the stuff that I grow now. Aside from chard, it somehow grows really well every year.
Yeah. There's a channel on YouTube called Becoming a Farm Girl, and she does a lot of container gardening on her porch. She is really good at it, and she has a really good channel. So for people who are interested in container gardening, that's a really good channel to go to. And so, yeah, I would say it's one of those things that I think for Michelle, it was just extra disappointing because she's used to growing out in her garden. She's worked on that soil for 10 years now, and we get so much out of it. And so she got this little stuff out of these containers, and it was like, well, this wasn't worth it. But totally, if you're in a situation where you can't have the big garden, you have the containers, it would be totally worth it.
Learn how to do it well.
Yeah. And 100%. Be something that you could learn and grow
100%.
into. Yeah.
Yes.
So one of the main themes of the video was talking about cold storage. And we got a lot of comments on the YouTube video about a lot of questions about cold storage. And so one of the questions I wanted to highlight was, what can we easily do for cold storage in Tennessee where we don't have basements? So Tennessee, a lot of the South don't have basements, just not a good idea to build a basement in this kind of climate. So what kind of advice, I guess, do you have for that if you weren't able to do it without a basement?
Well, it seems like maybe you should answer that question. I saw a really cool thing the other day that is probably totally impractical, but you could put a regular like root cellar on the ground. You can buy these pods, these root cellar pods that are like over in Switzerland or something. So it costs like tons of money to get them over here. I don't even know how available they are, but you could get one of those. I thought they were so cool. You just like bury it in the ground and you have an instant root cellar.
So why is it that they don't do basements? Is it because I
think it's because of water.
Water infiltration.
Well, so then would a root cellar actually work? Like, would a real deal root cellar work?
So here's the thing. Our neighbors, Tyler and Eric, they recommend just they're legit farmers. I mean, these are the people that I do the dairy business with them, so we can trade for their veggies, so we can get our milk and etc. But they are just bury. They're just bury a freezer, bury a broken freezer. And in Tennessee, that's actually it's a 3-day project probably to just literally dig and bury a freezer, but you can get them on Facebook Marketplace for free constantly because people are like, what do we do with a dead freezer? And it's already insulated, everything like that. So, I mean, that's you can also do other things put it in hay, put it in whatever. But the reality is, if you can get it, the point of a root cellar is that you get it down to down in the ground. And hilariously, even in our video we did together, I said a misnomer, which is not even true. But here, our frost point is 18 inches below the ground because we just we have a very low frost point, high frost point. Anyway, so here you only have to bury things 18 inches till where the ground is kind of at an equilibrium for temperature. And for most storage crops, 18 inches down here in Tennessee, because that is a specific Tennessee question, is yeah, I would say bury a freezer.
I have heard of doing that. And it would work for we wouldn't be able to, we'd have to bury a lot of freezers for all the food that we store. But I would also be a little worried of a kid getting in it and the door getting closed or something. It's down at ground level.
You just have to be really, really careful, and you have to have a lock on it or something.
But the other thing that you can do is you don't have to have a basement to have a cold room either.
Right.
To have a completely off-grid cold room, yes. But I know a fellow, you guys might know who he is actually, Noah Sanders. He lives in Alabama. He's written some books and stuff like that. He's a market gardener, and they built a cold room, and they just built this super insulated room, and then they used an air conditioner and a cool bot. And our basement actually, our cold room is not even we call it a cold room because it's not a root cellar. So It's not even in the ground like a root cellar is supposed to be. It's got 2 of the walls are against the dirt, but then the other 2 walls are just walls I built in our basement. And so we actually do have a hard time getting it as cold as we want to sometimes. But it does stay cold enough. But you could do that in a garage or anything. Just build a super insulated room, and then you put an air conditioner in it, and you can get these things called a cool bot that makes so the air conditioner runs and keeps it. It's it basically makes a big walk-in cooler. And from what I've heard, it's not that expensive to run.
Yeah, that was a question we got a ton in the comment section of that video. But the reality is, for anyone who's never heard of a cool bot, my one of my mentors in Washington had a cheese cellar that was run with a cool bot, and he was like, it cost me $8 a month to run it.
Wow.
And even here, our dairy room, which is in a very poorly insulated barn and everything, but because we just very carefully insulated the dairy room specifically, we're able to keep it very, very well, like at the proper temperature to make sure that our milk is safe and everything else. For like, again, it's like, I think it costs like $18 a month.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, 2 gallons of milk that we sell covers that cost. So like,
yes,
you know, for anyone who's never heard of the CoolBot, it sounds much more tech savvy than maybe someone like me would know about, but it literally is just a really cheap window air conditioner with a little thing you plug into it, and Adam would have to be the one who helps me plug it in and does the things.
And you would actually, like, somebody who's doing that would actually have an advantage over us, because some people did say, I think you can maybe use a mini split with a CoolBot, but like our cold room in the basement, I can't put a window unit in there. So like, I can't even use a CoolBot down there unless I'd find some kind of mini split that would work. So somebody who has a room in there, and like I said, we sometimes have problems getting it cold enough in there. But if you were building a cold room specifically, like in your garage or something, you could put that window unit in there really easily and make it work.
Totally.
Sweet. I want to be respectful of your guys' time, because you're in Eastern time and we're in Central time somehow, even though you're like right above us.
As the crow flies directly north.
So just do one more question, and then we'll announce the winners for the Redmond giveaway. So Herbal Mermaid, great username. When freezing veggies, do you need to blanch it first or just put it in a freezer bag?
Do you want me to answer that?
Yes, please.
I mean,
You're the carrot expert here. We get our carrots from Tyler's husband.
Yeah. So I assume you mean like freezing vegetables like broccoli and sweet corn. So it just depends. Like sweet corn, we blanch it first. I do have people say you don't have to. My mom always did growing up. We blanched it on the cob and then we cut it off. So I blanch sweet corn. I blanch broccoli. You for sure have to blanch broccoli. If you just throw raw broccoli in the freezer, it's going to be it's going to be rubbery and gross. Green beans, you have to blanch those before you freeze them. I'm trying to think, what other vegetables are there? Peppers, you don't have to. Kale, you don't have to. Like I chop and freeze kale. We use kale for one soup. And I freeze that in little baggies without blanching it. Say what?
Spinach, you don't have to.
Okay, I never freeze spinach, but no, you wouldn't have to freeze that.
I don't see any point in freezing spinach.
Our family doesn't like spinach either.
We love spinach. I eat let's be honest, my cows eat like 90% of my vegetables and turn them into ribeyes, but I do love a good spinach in my smoothie.
Yes. I'm trying to think of other vegetables. Peppers, you don't have to blanch those. So it just depends. Yeah. Carrots, you would definitely have to freeze carrots. Almost any.
Blanch, you mean?
What did I say?
You said freeze.
Blanch
but if you're freezing, you would blanch them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But most veggies are best if they are blanched first. So.
And by blanch, we mean a very light boil before putting it in the freezer.
Yes. Yep.
Question for you, Anne, that I saw in the comments earlier. Somebody asked what you're drinking, and I wanted to know too.
It looks like a nice
coffee.
Coffee?
I was right.
Yeah, I love coffee.
Okay.
Also, for anyone who's curious about it, I drink more coffee calms me down. Some people it hypes them up, but coffee is like the thing that keeps me not. Although Adam actually did tell me that I was yelling earlier.
You're not supposed to tell them that.
Well, listen, my parents started giving me coffee when I was 3 years old because it was like the only thing that would
So that's why you are the way you are.
It is the way that I am. I wish I was different, but also I am the way that I am, and I'm 37 years old.
I think that was a great opportunity to transition to segue into Redmond, and I think you totally missed it.
Oh, darn tootin'. Okay, here's the thing. Shoot, we really missed the boat. Let me just tell you, while we're here, Redmond, all of us here, all of us, let me just reach to the the right part
Okay,
of the
why don't
screen
you do that
here.
while I find who the winners
Let me
are?
reach to the proper part of the screen and say that all of us here love Redmond. Redmond makes, at least for us, making videos for free for you to watch, like, possible. And we love every Redmond product. We use it all. They just released, this is actually very exciting for me specifically, who's been brushing my teeth with bentonite clay, which is very, like, effective. But they just released a new product called Leaf, which is like more toothpaste that regular humans are used to using. Highly recommend it because it's the same product that keeps these pearlies pearly.
This is the funniest, like,
I'm sorry,
sponsor.
This is very
unscripted ad read.
This is what happens when you give me, like, no warning. But I'm just telling you, they just released a new toothpaste that's actually more toothpastey than just dipping your this side, dipping your toothpaste in
That
the
could be
raw
their
clay like
slogan,
I have
more
been.
toothpaste.
More toothpastey. Anyway, but not just that. I will say that as a breastfeeding mom, staying hydrated is extremely important. And because I have the taste buds of a 3-year-old, I'm drinking their Redmond Grape Relight
For kids.
Thank you. I thought I already clarified that, but here we are. I mean, listen. Also, I'll make the bold claim that like, I've watched my animals get healthy on the right kinds of mineral salts for so long that after 13 years of struggling with infertility, I gave myself a little selenium salt lick, and boy howdy, were we pregnant 3 months later.
Wow.
Yeah, we love Redmond here. We've been giving away, though we actually haven't given away any gift certificates, but if you've been commenting,
we're about to, yes.
We've been selecting comments. I say collectively because I don't even know how to read on here, but collectively we have been giving away gift certificates. We'll announce the winners. We love Redmond so much. Great company, great people, absolutely better product. If you're afraid of eating salt because it's not good for you, that's a lie from the pit of hell. Good salt comes from the pit.
There's just like slogans just coming out left and right.
If only we had a t-shirt company, and if only I could execute on any of these ideas ever. Redmond, feel free to just use these.
I'm sure they're taking notes.
But anyway, one other just like really funny thing that we talked about. Sorry, wrong way again. We did. How do I get this to like look like I'm looking at you?
There you go.
Talked about that we all have been using Redmond salt without really knowing it's a thing for many, many years.
I think for us, it's been like, what, 13 years?
For you, but for me, it was ever since I was a kid. My dad was a health nut. Like, we were going to health food stores before health food stores were cool. I remember eating, like, for a while, like, he was super health nut for a while. Then he kind of like mellowed out after a while, but for a little while. And I just remember, like, our version of dessert for a while was little sesame seed candies.
Wow.
Well, anyway, the good news of Great Joy, now you can make great popsicles. That's an inside joke for people who really, really watch every one of our videos. But you can make great popsicles using the grape relight and a silicone mold that costs $13 from Amazon.com, a small family business we also support.
They ran out of grape popsicles at the hospital when she was giving birth.
Yeah, my labor and him being and Alexander being in the NICU so long literally caused Vanderbilt Hospital, an enormous hospital in Tennessee, to run out of popsicles because I ate so many of them. They went to other wings of the hospital to get me more grape popsicles to eat.
That's
and
funny.
Still ran out. And when we had to take Alexander to the emergency room later on, I actually was like, listen, we're paying $3,000 for some baby Tylenol. I'm getting my popsicles. I asked for popsicles 4 times while we were in the emergency room. That's great. Anyway, all that to say that we love Redmond and we're so thankful for Redmond's support and like for every area of life, whether it's your livestock, your children's stock, your husband's stock, they have a product for that and it's great.
Oh, we love Redmond.
We really do.
It is truly a company that is very unique in the way that they run that company, and we really actually enjoy interacting with the people that work there. So they're the real deal.
Even the products aside, the way that they care about personal development within their employees and with the people that they work with is so impressive. Like, that is why we work with them. Like, I had loved their products for years, and then I was actually, as like a side business, studying how good businesses ran their business, and Redmond came up as one of the things. And the way that they take care of their employees is literally why I was like, I want to know more about this. And it's a great company. We love everything about what they do, and we absolutely love their products. Yeah.
Yes.
So Adam, tell us the winners.
After that eloquent.
Thank you for sticking around through the great popsicle madness. Oh, did I tell you that this is grape relight?
Yes.
Yes, I think you did. The kids one. There you go.
In case the good God.
Yeah, close the sale here.
In case inquiring minds want to know.
Okay, there
this
you
is
go.
it.
Okay. We have 4 winners.
Great.
And
No, this is.
Oh, that's not it. Okay.
Montana Reeves 9918.
Montana, my home state.
That's right. The second winner is Rock 5138. The third winner is Little Homestead on Heiner Pond. And then the fourth winner is Emperaskia 21. And so winners, reach out to us at hi@anivaltrades.com, so that way we can get your email address and send you your gift cards.
Yeah, so it requires a little personal responsibility on your part. If you want to claim your winnings,
Hi.
Hello.
No,
hi.
hi.
Well,
H-I,
actually,
not hello.
literally any word. You could. This is actually, you could say hello, but like hi
You have
or
that
any
set up.
word at anivaltrades.com will get you to my email address. Although I haven't checked my email in 3 years. Adam will check it and get you there.
That's true. Cody, you're the same way, right? You manage a lot of the.
Yeah, she doesn't ever look at emails or anything. I do all of the.
I'm just not techie. I get stressed with it.
Preach.
This is what I learned when we visited, was like Cody and like we're like basically living the same life.
Even the same things that like annoy me when we're filming and we're like looking at each other like, oh
yeah. Yeah, I know.
It was literally like filming a video at home. Even though
I was extra nice too.
Yeah, it was.
I loved that whole video experience. Like it was like 4 people just like it totally in their element. Like we got a great video out of it. It was fun. Cody was filming, and then I edited it.
Actually, we have 9 minutes. Can I just say one last thing that really relates to this? One of the things that I saw over and over and over in the comment section of that video that we did together was, do I have to have social media to be able to have a homestead?
Oh, what?
And my answer for that is probably like 15 years in now. My answer to that is like hilariously no. If you need money, get a real job. And I don't mean that in a I don't mean that in a facetious way at all. Like, the reality of our life for the last 15 years has been like, I worked multiple jobs from the very beginning and also did social media. And our experience has been that like, if the farm has to make money to be able to make our life work, then it's going to put so much more stress on every single thing. And the reality is, and I think Adam would agree with me, is that like when I first quit, like I left tech to try to do more stuff hands-on. And when I did that, it was like I was leaving a 40-hour-a-week job that had benefits and vacation and insurance and all things. And then leaving that because I was like, oh man, it's like sucks working for the man. I left that to work 80 hours a week, sometimes 100 hours a week for myself, who's a much bigger jerk than any boss I'd ever had, with no benefits, no fallback plan, no anything. And now that Adam has also left tech, left corporate, like we are the fallback. I think you guys have experienced this similar thing. And if the farm, like our farm generates enough money to make everything kind of break even, but we have a business that's separate from our farm that's not related on how many heads of lettuce we can grow. And I think that's a common misconception that people have when they're watching, like all of us, that like, oh, is social media, like, do I have to have social media to make our farm work? And the reality is like, no, because I think that doing the social media thing is like a very unique, limited way, like to make money that like I truly think is different than actually like working. Like, do you guys have like working for an off farm job? What would your guys' perspective be on that be?
Yeah, so when we started, I was working a full-time job. We were like, when we were dating, at one point when we were dating before we got married, I think it was less than $1 or less than $2 in my bank account, and that was all the money I had anywhere. But we ended up, we got married, lived paycheck to paycheck. We ended up being able to get a private loan to build this house. It was nuts. I mean, this is 10-year-old numbers, but we borrowed $80,000 to buy 5.5 acres and build a house.
And we did it in that.
Yeah. And that's, I know you can't do that today. The land prices and stuff are way more than that, but we made it happen because I did all the work myself. And basically what I'm getting to is we were homesteading with a full-time job, and that was working. Like, it works. It totally works. We wanted to turn our homestead into a farm business, and we came to a point where we figured out that it's you either got to go all in and have an actual like farm business, or just stick to your day job and have a homestead for your family. There's not really a good in between. You're just going to be working way too many hours and not making enough money. On all of our tax returns where we were making some money on our homestead, we pretty much broke even with farm money every single year. We might have made a little bit a few years. And then for like 3 years, I was working a full-time job, doing the homestead thing and doing the YouTube thing on nights and weekends. And basically we wanted to make so I could work from home. And so we knew it was going to be hard for a while, and we were just okay with that. We decided we could make this sacrifice to make it work. And now it is working for us, but it's not a necessity. Like, I mean, we've been talking, this has been sprinkled throughout this whole live stream, is if you want to make it happen, you can make it happen. And it's probably going to actually be a lot easier to make it happen without trying to do social media and without trying to do other things. Just work a job and do a homestead. You can do it. People ask often, like, what do you do for work, or, how does this support you or whatever? And yes, we are supported by our YouTube channel and stuff. And it can look really easy to a lot of people, but people
think we have the bougiest job, and I'm like, you have no idea.
It is really hard. We actually went from me working a full-time job and her being a stay-at-home mom to us both working almost full-time jobs together at home, plus doing the homestead thing. So like, now it's taking both of us to run this business to make it happen. So yeah, it is a lot of work.
And just for anyone watching, like, how long did it take you basically eating the time that you were spending building your social media till it actually paid off? Because I think that that's another misnomer that a lot of people have. For me, it was 7 years of basically doing a full-time job that I wasn't getting paid for, which, like, not complaining. Like, I'm so thankful that I've had the opportunity to share and to teach. This is also what we talked about when we were together, is that we love sharing and teaching, and that's a part of the mission for us.
Yeah.
But for you guys, how long did it take?
So everybody looks at that golden monetization, getting monetized on YouTube. It took a year and a half to get monetized, but that's still, I mean, you might make $50 a month or something at that point. A year and a half to get there, 2 years till it kind of started taking off. And then it was 2.5 years from when we started till I quit my job.
Mhm.
So not nearly as long, but in that 2.5 years, I was like Michelle said earlier, when I set my mind to something, I'm all in. It's all or nothing. I listened to probably hundreds of hours of podcasts, watched videos, took courses, and like laser focused on making this thing work. And like I would miss things, we wouldn't go to things. It was, yeah, I would like my life, almost like the short version of Mr. Beast, where Mr. Beast talks about, you know, like just dedicating his whole entire life to YouTube. It wasn't quite that bad, but it was, you know, for that stretch of time, it was really putting everything I had into it and making
And
it work.
we committed to that. Like that was our agreement. Is that he's going to hammer down.
But at
as
that
it
like
takes.
2-year mark or so, I was getting pretty discouraged, and I was like, if by the end of year 3 we're not making this work, I think we're gonna have to quit, because it was so much work and I couldn't just keep doing it forever. But we
all of a
felt,
sudden.
yeah,
took
and
off.
I feel like when we started, it was definitely a nudge from God that this was our mission,
Mhm.
and that kind of kept us going. And then before that cutoff time, you know, God made it happen,
It
and
happened.
here we are,
Mhm.
still on the mission.
Love it.
Yeah. I mean, we have a 6-month check-in where it's like every 6 months we check in. It's like, is this working for us and for our goals for the family? Like from a financial standpoint, from a like family health standpoint, from everything else. But like, but it's a thing that we genuinely do revisit every 6 months, because like I am always shocked that it still works 6 months later, because when I first quit my job in 2008, like I've quit my job and then had to go back to work multiple times now.
Oh.
But when I first quit my job, I was like, I'm going to give it 6 months. And if it's still working after 6 months, then I put a dollar value on it too, because like we couldn't afford to lose our house. It's our only asset. Again,
Right.
starting from really, really like, you know, meager means, but like, yeah. So every 6 months we ask ourselves like, hey, on a family level, on a missional level, on a financial level, is this worth it to keep doing? And as long as the answer is yes, we'll keep doing it. But like just like everything else on the farm, when it stops working, like we stop.
Mhm.
Yep.
So anyway, we really, really, really appreciate you guys spending your time with us and sharing your knowledge with us. Like, I mean, again, I think there's a reason that the video we made together resonated so well. You both are a fountain of knowledge of so many things, and you are goals in so many ways. Like, and you know, we're new parents.
Yeah.
Watching you guys parent your kids, like when we got to actually spend time with your family, it was so like, this is why. Try not to cry. This is why we're doing what we're doing. Like, we want to be parents like you.
Mm.
Aw.
And we so appreciate like you share your time and your knowledge to like be able to do that better.
Yeah.
We're honored.
Super blessed to have you guys here too. That was a lot of fun. And any other YouTubers will know this. It can feel really lonely sometimes. And you guys being here and being able to like talk together to our audiences and stuff is really cool. I really appreciate being able to do that.
Well, this won't be the last one. Like I said, when we hung out, like once we're friends, we're stuck. You're stuck with us.
Yeah. I wanted to quick shout out. I just saw a comment he left on there reminding people about the giveaways, where to get a hold of Ann. Four Brothers Farm. It's my buddy Cam that joined us for the live stream to moderate. And he's an up and coming YouTube channel. If you guys in the audience haven't seen him yet, you can go check him out. So I just wanted to shout that out real quick.
Say that again. Four Brothers Farm.
Four Brothers Farm. He's the one that's been posting about. Yep, that
There
one.
we go.
Whoa, look at that. How cool that it can just appear. Also, Emily, if you can show yourself out, because like I don't know how that works, but like Emily is the auntie of Alexander and also the auntie to the farm. Like literally, she and her husband Chris like saved our farm when we were like in the trenches of like me almost dying and not knowing what to do or how to deal with that. And like Emily,
Also, when we went to Ohio too.
Also when we went to Ohio, but like Emily and Chris are like have showed up to do the hard, gross, awful stuff time and again. And we don't deserve it. And we are so thankful for their friendship and we love them so much. And Alpal is like, I mean, obsessed with them.
They don't have a YouTube channel.
They don't have a YouTube channel.
But you can go to Four Brothers Farm
Yeah.
and subscribe to that YouTube channel in their honor.
Exactly.
How about that? Well, amazing.
Great. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having us. This was awesome.
Super fun.
Back, and also we're trying like hello YouTube pressure. Let's get them down to our farm for a visit sooner than later.
Yeah, for sure.
I see it in my future.
Yeah.
I see it in your future too. I'm a real pest.
We'll host the next one of these on our channel. We'll do another.
We love that.
We can't wait.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks
Awesome.
everyone.
Thanks,
Good night.
everyone.
Night.
Good night.
Bye.